Hi, my name's Andy, and I don't know what you were expecting me to preach about on Mothering Sunday, but I want to talk about Hitler. Some of you may be disappointed at that choice, and others may be relieved. But I'm not talking about Adolf Hitler, I'm talking about his nephew, Willy Hitler. Willy Hitler grew up in Liverpool with his mum, Brigitte Hitler, who's the ex-wife of Alois Hitler, Adolf's brother. If I tell you that growing up, Alois Hitler was considered the less charming, less likable of the two Hitler boys, you may understand why the marriage didn't last very long. And in 1939, Willy Hitler emigrated to America. And here's the thing, he kept his name. He didn't have to keep his name. In fact, the immigration official, when he arrived in New York, gave him the opportunity to start over with a whole new name. But he chose at that point to keep the surname Hitler. He changed it later on, but at that time he kept it. So I want to ask, why on earth did Willy Hitler not change his name in 1939? And I think there are three reasons that we can piece together, although he never wrote his life story, so we are guessing a bit. Number one, Willy Hitler was a follower of Jesus, and that gave him a new family, a new identity as a member of the church. You see, you could say that the church came into being at the moment that Jesus, dying on the cross, said to his friend John, "This is your mother," and to Mary, "This is your son." Mary and John weren't related, and yet from that moment on, they were to treat each other as family, the best kind of family. Don't know about you, but every Mothering Sunday, I reflect on the people in the church who've acted like mothers to me, most of whom weren't related to me. Some of them weren't even women. And I reflect on those in younger generations whom I think I've mothered a little as well, in a good way. Church is an intergenerational, alternative kind of family. Jesus launched it at Calvary. So Willy didn't have to fear that he was defined by his physical family. And you don't either. Number two, Willy had a plan. He embarked on a lecture tour of America, telling people about Germany, trying to persuade the Americans to stop being neutral and join the Allies. And obviously it was helpful for that lecture tour that Willy had his name, and there was the draw of Hitler's nephew. Here's the thing, there is nothing in your past that won't somehow be used. What was bad and wrong is forgiven and will be forgotten. But there is no good that you have done, no good done to you, no tear, no pain that cannot be used by God for good somehow. That doesn't mean all the bad things that have happened to you are God's will. I'm not saying that for one moment. But I'm saying that nothing ultimately gets wasted in the economy of God. It's as if God is going to gather everything up and use it for good. If not now, then in the new heaven and the new earth, when everything is put right. As Christians, our logo is the cross. So clearly we are not embarrassed by suffering and what appears to be failure. Willie served in the US military as a pharmacist during the war, and then he became a research chemist. He established Brookhaven laboratories and developed the testing of blood to identify various diseases. So when you hear about new varieties of COVID-19 being scanned by synchrotron technology, thank Hitler. And the third thing is this. For Willie, I guess Hitler wasn't mainly his dad's name or his uncle's name. He never knew his dad, and he certainly never got really to know his uncle. For him, Hitler was his mum's name, a single mum who'd cared for him in poverty and disruption and a broken marriage. Maybe changing his name would have felt like a slap in the face to her. And it really matters that although, as I think we've shown in this service, we do realize that for many people, Mothering Sunday is problematic, we nevertheless find ways to celebrate mothers, their pain, their gifts, their skills, their brilliance, their sacrifices. On the cross, in tremendous pain, in almost his final breath, Jesus thought about his mother. And it's right that we give mothers some attention, that we fight with them for justice, that we celebrate all that they are. One day, there will be a new heaven and a new earth, and there will be great family reunions. And we will have scarred, holy bodies that will be physical yet spiritual, somehow interconnected yet still distinct. In other words, the new heaven and the new earth will be a little bit like joining with sisters and brothers in interconnected households through an ordinary office. A bit like it, but even better. Mary will be there, John will be there. I guess you'll tell who they are because they'll be standing together. One day, you will be reunited with people who've mothered you, people you've mothered, even if you aren't related. And it seems likely that you and I will meet at least one Hitler there, too.